why are you here, Tucson?
Oh God, I don't know. No, my brother was here last year with a film that I did with him, Eliza, and he called me. He said, actually, Richard Avedon was down here too, right? Who I know from New York, and they both had such a good time. And he called me. He's like, you should really come down, and they'd be happy to have you. And so it's just it was just a scheduling issue after that. And and theaters like this are really special to the cities that they're in, because America isn't great about the foreign film market and the independent film market really selling those pictures, and distributing them well. And so these theaters are really important. So to support it's kind of a no-brainer.
That's great. And
no, go ahead.
A lot of people say you're natural. Your acting is just natural, human-like. What do you think of your
human-like?
Yeah, you're real.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, to me, that's acting. I mean, it's not necessarily to be real or natural, but to be honest and expressive and creative. And I think if you're those things, people identify with what they see, or they're surprised by it, or shocked by it, or something. They have an experience with it instead of watching something that. Well, I think there's a difference between being surprised by it and identifying with it and all those things, as opposed to kind of being comfortable with the distance that some acting can create, which meaning that it's acting, and sometimes it's very well done, but you're watching something that's not really pertaining to their lives. It's fiction, it's fantasy, and I'm much more interested in dealing with what's happening, in people's lives. So,
is there any particular reason why you were with Paul Tom Anderson all the time? Like, is it the style you like?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of respect for each other, but we're also just really close friends. It's I've done all his films except his short film. I've done all his feature films, and we met doing Heart 8, which used to be called Sydney, and John Riley. All three of us kind of met at the same time, and we just all became very good friends, and John, myself, and Paul are still very tight, and in fact, we're gonna go work with Paul. He's writing a new script, and so we're all gonna go and hang out at his house, and it's really just being close and being friends more than anything now. Yeah.
It's this little town that's actually full of artists, and also doing a tribute to your films. Only like, oh, we're gonna play your films. How do you feel? It's like, did you expect something like this in a little town like this?
Well, somebody asked me, it's like, a retrospective on your work, and you're only 36 years old, and I said, well, I don't really look at it like that. I wouldn't do that. If that's what this was, I probably wouldn't be here, because that would turn me off. I don't think that this is more of a celebration of the theater, the Loft, and that appealed to me, and that's why I was kind of like, well, do all the films have to be a film I'm in? I was kind of trying to spread it out a little bit, and so no, it's very flattering that I am in a position where hopefully I can bring attention to a theater with the work I've done. I'm happy to do that.
Can you talk about the range of characters because I know you picked these films because it shows a lot of different, attitudes or types of character. Can you talk about that? Because I know one of the things you're most well known for is being able to play a lot of different people.
Yeah, I picked the films on a lot of different reasons, because there are some obvious films that I didn't pick. Because they were obvious, meaning like I was talking to Paul last night. Actually, he's like, "Why? Well, you didn't pick Flawless. Why didn't you pick Flawless? They should have. No one saw Flawless. They got to see Flawless, And I was kind of like, yeah, but that's more showing off, to me. I could have done Happiness, Flaw. I could have done all the films I've had, carried movies with, but I didn't want it to be about that. I wanted it to also be about film style. Commercial film as opposed to independent film, and the obvious difference between those, and you'll see those, and if you come see all the films, you'll see the difference. It's a big difference in an independent style as opposed to a style that's might be have a strong artist behind it as a director, but still you can see the money behind it and a lot of the other voices behind it, and they're also still good films, and how is that done? And so there's a lot of different, not just the parts and not just having a lead as opposed to a character or a smaller role, things like that.
There's a slickness to the money films that I guess you might not see. Do you see the same thing though in the sort of indie?
I think there's a slickness to some independent films too. I think it's not that it's if you watch like Oni Mahoney, which is in this, as opposed to Almost Famous. Almost Famous is one of the more enjoyable films you'll ever watch, I think, in my opinion. Taking me out of it, I think it's really just a pleasure to watch that film. But Oni Mahoney has almost a non-realistic style to it. If you watch it, he takes a lot of liberties. You actually, when he's shooting the casino, you actually have never been in that casino. You know what I mean? He's not actually trying to identify that casino to an Atlantic City casino or Vegas. He's actually trying to say something with just the atmosphere of it. Certain things like that the film when it was made wasn't made to bring in $50 million. It was made with a singular vision, and there was a lot more liberties taken artistically making that film. Whereas Almost Famous is really a very strict autobiographical picture that he was really trying to get at, and he really chose certain parts of his history to show you and left out others to give you a certain feeling of the film. But it's much more realistic in its telling and its environment and where they are and those kinds of differences.
But I wanted to ask you about the Loft. I mean, you touched on it before, maybe go into a little more depth about why it's so important to have a place like this, an art house in every city.
Well, because I think there's a real problem with the exporting and importing of entertainment with this country and the rest of the world. We export a lot of our entertainment, a lot of our films. We don't import a lot, and it's kind of a foreign film that gets a lot of attention is seen as, oh, that film, have you seen that film? But we miss out on so many other things, and then also the independent movement in our country, we also miss out on that also due to economic constraints and things like that. And theaters like this will run pictures that other theaters won't, foreign and independent. And the more theaters that there are like this that stick around, the more venues that these films have is only going to be a positive thing for the filmmakers that are coming up now, knowing that they'll have a place to show their movies.
Would you make a film in Tucson?
If there's a story to do in Tucson, I don't have one off the top of my head, but yeah, of course I would.
They try to recruit being 7-8 hours from LA.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, of course I'd shoot a film in Tucson, but I mean, it has to, I'd have to first get a job in Tucson, so.
Why do you act? What's your passion for acting?
How do I act? I don't think that there's really an answer to that question. I mean, I think acting is something that I was attracted to in the theater when I was as a kid. I actually am more involved in the theater than I am in film even now. So I really, link up my desire to act with that venue more than I do with film in a way. And that there's something about being in a theater, there's something about that experience watching it as an audience member that's still to me one of the more pleasurable things that I can do in my life. So being a part in creating it and hopefully giving that experience to others is a big drive of mine. And the fact that I found out that acting is truly one of the great art forms that we have, and that it's not viewed as such, and to kind of keep trying to make that statement that it is an art form and that it should be respected as one. And
my last question is, any future plan? Are you working on anything right now?
No, not right now. There's a few films I'm trying to get made, actually. There's a film about Truman Capote writing In Cold Blood that I'm trying to get made that hopefully we'll be shooting this fall. But it's hard, like what we were talking about earlier, it's hard to make these kind of films and get the money and everything. And so there's a lot of different films like that I'm trying to get made that I'm looking forward to, and that's kind of where I am right now. You know, a lot of the jobs that I've been offered lately haven't interested me as much as those pictures, so I've kind of left it open.
You have a baby too, right? How's that going?
Oh, he's a drag. I'm getting rid of him. No, yeah, he's gonna get a job. It's Dad hasn't been working. No, it's the best. You have a kid?
Not yet.
Yeah, well.
One baby. How old is
Get
he?
with it, guys. What's going on? No, it's like the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I just left him. I mean, you'll know when you have one. It's kind of very special.
Great.
I had one other question. We're in an election campaign. Obviously, you did the last party about 2000. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, real general here about this election right now and how it goes, how it's played out on TV, how campaigns try to work. I had the privilege of working in Iowa during the caucuses, and I kind of saw Kerry jump to the top.
Yeah, you saw you saw Dean go like that.
Yeah,
That's what you saw. Yeah.
Actually, during the last couple of weeks, and obviously immediately after.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really interesting to see.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's life happening right in front of.
Yeah, it's history. Yeah. It's too soon to tell, I think, about that, about what's going to happen with this election. I think there's so much happening in the world, whether you like it or not, or I like it or not, it is, to really tell, you know, how that's going to, you know, influence the outcome of our election.
Yeah.
You know, what somebody said once, I can't remember who it was, but that other people from other countries should be able to vote for our president, you know, because we have so much influence on the world that they should be able to vote also. I thought that was excellent. I thought that makes a lot of sense, actually. But that's how I've been thinking lately, actually, that we should allow people from other countries to vote for our president, since we have so much influence around the world right now. But I think there's still so much to happen. That it's so to say this is what's going to happen or this is who's going to win, I think would just be too soon. Yeah.
You just do stories every week on, you know, touchscreen voting and on e-voting and all this stuff, and just the actual vote itself, I think, it's intriguing to me. I mean, being into politics and being into news, it's just, you know, how's it going to work? How does it work? I mean, how can we be sure and all that stuff?
Sure of what, though?
You know, there's
How can we be sure of what? You know, that's what I mean.
There's a website that's called Survival T-shirt website.
Yeah.
And it says, with all the languages, it says, I did not vote for Bush.
Yeah.
It's called Survival T-shirt when you go out in the country.
Yeah.
The domestic version that has the English, like I did not vote for Bush.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's actually a website.
So you're, for 3 days, what are you going to do for 3 days?
I'm going to be here. I'm going to relax with my family, get a sunburn. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. You get some you get some like other shots, like wide shots. Does he have to go? Yeah. We'll just chat a little bit just to get some wide shots and we can cut away.
Let's do it.
I think with 3 microphones, you've got 7 or 8 networks covered. So.
Oh, really?
We at least have a couple.
Yeah. We might do it on PR. I'm from PBS.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Terrific.
And I'm a filmmaker myself.
Oh, you are?
I'm working on this feature film right now. It's
Really?
trying to raise $1 million. It's just actually
You need $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got some good funding going on, but it's just so difficult.
It's very tough.
But my subject is on Korean women.
Yeah.
Korean comfort women, actually.
Korean what?
Comfort women. They were the sex slaves during the World War II.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a project, but it's going.
Comfort women. I've never heard it put that way.
Well, there were 200,000 women involved in this, and then there were 114 left. So I actually went back to Korea.
Oh, so you've been interviewing them?
Yeah, I got permission to do a story, so I'm writing, producing, directing.
Wow, that's terrific.
It's so I'm hoping to, like, my goal is to get it for Sundance 2006, but it's just so difficult. So like you were telling me about this whole fundraising thing is like so
very hard.
Yeah. Like, wow. So have you
directed a film?
Yeah.
No.
Like a feature?
No, I've just directed theater plays. Yeah.
Are you going to? theater?
A film?
Yeah, film.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
maybe someday. I don't know. I have to really be crazy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a huge job, directing a film.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have that director look too.
The director look?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I direct a lot in the theater. That's
Yeah.
where I do that.
What's your
But-
favorite play?
Oh God! Somebody asked me that the other day. I have a lot of favorite plays. Yeah.
Do you, but the particular character you like? A lot of people say Hamlet. Is there like?
No, it's really. I don't have a favorite. It'd be pretty difficult to say that. You know, it's kind of like, what's your favorite book? You know,
Yeah,
it's a bunch of books
bad
I like.
question.
Yeah, you know, there's a favorite. No.
Which restaurant have you been to in Tucson?
La Salsa.
Yeah,
A buddy of mine saw you there.
yeah. Where else were we? We were at some other place. And half bread or something, half loaf. What's it called?
Beyond bread?
Beyond bread.
Yeah. Oh, the Mexican restaurant where Clinton visited.
La salsa.
No, that's not La Salsa. Minidita, yeah. It's
Minidita.
in the south part of the Tucson. If you go there, there's a where Clinton sat and his plate and everything. It's really
No, it's still there. And the meal is still there.
as a menu. It's really
Not much
nice.
left.
Hey,